Hey guys, so today I'm going to be looking at more petty revenges. Yeah, let's just get right into the video. To start, this girl and I were best friends the first half of high school. However, something changed in her. She became depressed and suicidal because she was being severely bullied online. I reported what she told me to both the school counselors and her parents, and I told her that I told them. She decided I betrayed her and suddenly became a bully towards me. Ironically, she became friends with the girls who bullied us both right after. She later found out they were the online bullies too. My first job was front end at a restaurant, and she knew when and where I worked. So she made it a point to show up at my work where I really couldn't do much. I had to serve her and her new friends. She saw me coming and said to not expect a tip because service industry workers are servants who don't need to be paid. That stuck with me for years. I told my manager that I refused to serve her or them ever again. Manager was fine with it at that point as I had made comments before. From that day on, I never spoke to my ex-friend for years. Recently, I went to my hometown in a local restaurant. Lo and behold, my waiter is my ex-friend. Again, I haven't spoken to her at all since that day. She basically said I was her servant. I decided to get petty revenge by killing her with kindness. I was polite, but never acknowledged that I knew her. She kept saying she swears she recognizes me from somewhere. I kept brushing the question off. Then came the bill. When the receipt for the tip came, I put a note on it that said, "Do you still think service industry workers are servants who don't need to be paid?" with a 100% tip on a $40-ish meal. As I walked out, I saw her face as she read the note. She turned very, very red. I think my kind, petty revenge got to her. Wow, that was good. Yes, that's amazing. The fact that she didn't stoop as low as her ex-friend did, she's amazing for doing that. So classy. Mwah. This was more than a decade ago, back when my sister and I were children. I think I was 9 and she was 11, but I could be a little off. Around winter, like most kids, we built snowmen in our yard, and that year was no different. The only thing that changed was that someone had been repeatedly destroying our snowmen. After the third time it happened, her and I decided to do something about it and began plotting our revenge. We have a fish pond in our backyard, surrounded with large decorative rocks. Rocks that would hurt a lot if someone were to kick them. It took at least half an hour, but her and I managed to haul enough of them in front of the front yard to make a good sized stack of rocks. Next, we built a snowman around the stack, hiding the rocks inside of it. Sure enough, our serial snowman killer took the bait. The next day, my sister and I were in the backyard. We were feeding the fish after chipping a hole in the ice that covered the pond when we heard someone shouting in pain and cursing. We rushed to the side of our house and saw a couple of older boys standing around while their friend was sitting in the snow and clutching his foot. Our snowman was destroyed, exposing the pile of rocks inside of it. Justice had been served, so we went back to feeding the fish. The snowmen we built after that were left alone. Pain is a pretty good deterrent, I guess. Yes, he deserved that karma. Why would you keep kicking someone's snowman, man? Do you not have a heart? Seriously? Do you not like Olaf or something? Many years ago, I was a scout. In my country, it's for both boys and girls. When I was 11, I was in a group of 5 to 6 kids, and so was this boy who was 12, who was from my school. He was in the grade over mine. We both liked chess and to read and even shared the same last name. So when he asked to borrow a series of pocketbooks that my older brother gave me, I said yes. Then all of a sudden he changed and got really hateful. He didn't want to return my books. He called me bad names and was a real jerk about it. A few weeks went by, and when I realized he wasn't going to return the books, I told my older brother, and he called the guy, threatened to tell his parents, and then he finally returned the books. But that wasn't the end of it. The bullying got so bad that I decided to drop out of the scout. But I had been a scout long before him, since I was 6 years old, and 2 of my scout leaders turned up at my house to talk to my parents about it. They promised to change the groups, so I wouldn't have to be around that boy anymore. I guess it worked because I was a scout until I was 14. A few years went by and I moved out, and I got a room in the nearest bigger city. One morning around 3 or 4 a.m. on my way home from clubbing, I met the guy again. He was happy to see me because he had been out drinking with some friends and had somehow gotten lost, and everything was closed by now. The next bus to the village wasn't scheduled before 9 a.m. He asked if he could crash at my place. I just said, "Tough luck, bro, you're on your own," and then I went home alone. How he spent the next 4 to 5 hours before he could get on a bus, I don't know, but I'm glad I got my petty revenge. Oh, that wasn't really a revenge. I think it was just what everyone would have done. Like, you wouldn't let someone that you don't even know crash at your place, right? It's just a normal thing not to do that because you never know what someone's intentions are if you don't even know them. Like, she knew this person, but this person was worse than someone that she didn't know because this person bullied her and made her feel the worst that she's ever felt, right? So maybe even a stranger would be better than this dude. But yeah, I think she did the right thing in just not letting him in. I think most people would have done the same. Like, no, get lost. Loser. Causing my boss to mess up what she wrote in emails by plugging in a wireless mouse. One of my first workplaces had extremely toxic management. It was owned and run by an old couple in their 60s who were co-CEOs. The wife in particular was a bitter and racist who would micromanage everyone, take credit for our work, and also hated my guts more than the rest of the team. I am minority, female, young, and also opinionated. That is, all the things she despises. Because she's quite old, she never learned to touch type and instead does the typical hunt and peck style. So once she starts typing, she stares down at a keyboard the entire time. She also tends to write quite long emails. I became so jaded that any form of revenge was screwing with her to brighten my day. So one time I decided to plug a wireless dongle for a mouse into her PC. Once I saw her typing, I'd wait until she'd type a reasonable amount and then click using the spare mouse somewhere random. She'd continue typing, look up and rage at a computer and have to start again. Sometimes I'd repeat the process within the same email. My colleagues were in on it, so I'd give them a heads up when I clicked so we could all have a laugh. When I was done, I'd simply wait until she left and casually unplug the dongle from her PC. Honestly, this is one of the things that kept me sane while I was there until I managed to escape. Find joy in the little things. Man, dude, amazing. People like the boss. You suck. Having people work for you and doing everything for your company and you're gonna treat them like trash. I hate companies like that, man. Like, why are you gonna do that? Your employees are there to make your company grow and you're gonna treat them like trash? Dude, that's why you're failing as a company. When I was around 10, my mum was in a local mums group and they would meet up at the park during the summer to talk while all of us kids played. It was a relatively large group and like all the large groups of children around various ages, there were a few bullies. I was a super annoying dorky kid who had way too much confidence for my own good, so I probably did something to annoy this older boy around 12 enough to pick on me. At first, he would just poke at how I was short in passing, which didn't bother me that much. Then it changed to calling me fat and short. I minded the fat part a little more, but my friends advised me just to ignore the boy, especially because he was much bigger than us and had a group of friends who were also mean. So for a while, I just shook off the jabs. Then it happened. The boy did something 10-year-old me considered unforgivable. One day we were all playing Red Rover. Red Rover, Red Rover, let OP come over. The children on the opposite side called. Yet when my name was called out, another name was shouted louder by my bully. Piggy, come over! I felt the flush of embarrassment and anger in my cheeks as I jogged over to the other side, but I tried to hold my head up. That was until I heard him and his friends oinking like pigs in my direction. I felt tears starting to brim in my eyes and anger kindle in my heart. And right then and there, as the rest of the kids were yelling Red Rover, I came up with my plan. I knew there was no point confronting the boy. It would only make things worse. But I glanced over to a few yards away where his mum was chatting with some of the other mums. My bully's mum was a kind lady, but she was very strict with her children, according to my mum, who was friends with her, and I knew her son would never act up in front of her and live to tell the tale. His mum was also very short and plump. For a few weeks, I waited and watched, and finally my chance came. We were at the pool for the birthday party of one of the kids, and I looked up to see my bully's mum head towards the bathroom. I followed her and waited by the sinks. I stared down at my hands and thought of my favorite cat dying until I felt tears begin to roll down my cheeks. A store door swung open, and I heard footsteps and the sound of water running, but I kept my head down. Hey, are you okay, dear? I looked up at my bully's mum and sniffed. No, this boy keeps calling me fat and short and he makes pig noises when I walk by him. The bully's mum was sympathetic, telling me that was very mean of anyone to behave that way and that she used to get bullied too. Then the moment I was hoping for came. Who's the boy that is bullying you? She asked. I said I would show her, and the amount of satisfaction I felt when I pointed to her son was enormous. Her face fell, and then her expression darkened. I will take care of this, don't worry. She walked away from me back to the pavilion the mums were sitting under, and then I heard her call out his name. I did not get to hear what she said to him, but my friend who was reapplying sunscreen told me it was a long scolding about how she had heard he was bullying kids and how she had thought she taught him better. Then how disappointed she was that he would fat shame anyone when he knows some people have no control. My bully sat out the rest of our time there and did not come to the next play date. He never bothered me again. Yes! Good on the mum for teaching her kid like that. Honestly, because I know some mums would be like, no, my kid would never. Ugh, hate those kind of parents. My kid would never do that. That's why your kid grows up to be a trashy person, okay? They literally just solve their own problem by themselves like that. Amazing. Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoy. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.